What would you do if saving one life turned 100 strangers into your fiercest allies? In the dusty heart of a forgotten town, where prejudice simmered like heat on asphalt, Clara Johnson never imagined her quiet diner would become the stage for a reckoning. At 52, she'd seen enough of the world's cruelty-sharp glances, whispered slurs, the weight of being a black woman in a place that clung to old ways. Her diner, Clara's Corner, was her sanctuary, a worn but warm haven where she served coffee and kindness to anyone who walked through the door. But one stormy night, kindness would spark a fire she never saw coming. It was past midnight when the bell above the door jangled. Rain pounded the windows, and a man staggered in, blood streaking his leather vest. His Hell's Angels patch gleamed under the fluorescent lights, but his eyes were wild with fear. Behind him, red and blue lights flashed through the storm cops, close and closing in. Clara didn't know his name or his crimes, but she knew the look of a man running from death. "Hide me," he rasped, clutching a wound at his side. The air grew thick with the weight of her choice. She could have turned him away. The town already whispered about her, the outsider who didn't belong. Why risk everything for a stranger, a biker no less, tied to a world of violence? But Clara's heart didn't work that way. She saw a man, not a label. "Back room, now," she whispered, shoving him toward the kitchen. Seconds later, two officers burst in, their voices sharp with suspicion. "Seen a biker, ma'am? Dangerous type." Clara's pulse hammered, but her face stayed calm. "Just me and the coffee pot tonight," she said, pouring a cup with steady hands. They searched, found nothing, and left, cursing the rain. The biker, Jack, didn't say much as she bandaged his wound. He was a drifter, a loner who'd crossed the wrong people. "Why'd you do it?" he asked, voice rough. Clara shrugged. "Didn't seem right to let you bleed out." He left before dawn, slipping into the night with a nod that carried more weight than words. By noon the next day, Clara's world turned upside down. The roar of engines shook the diner's walls, a thunderous growl that drowned out the radio. She stepped outside, heart in her throat, to find the parking lot swallowed by a sea of motorcycles, 200 Hell's Angels, their bikes gleaming, their faces hard but not hostile. Jack stood at the front, his wound hidden under fresh leather. The town gawked from a distance, whispers of fear and judgment buzzing like flies. Clara felt the weight of every stare, every assumption about her and the men before her. This was no place for a black woman to stand tall, yet here she was. "We don't forget," Jack said, his voice carrying over the engines. "You saved one of ours. We're here to repay it." The bikers didn't move, didn't threaten, but their presence was a wall, a declaration. Clara's diner, once a target for sneers, was now untouchable. The town's prejudice, so loud in its silence, faltered under the weight of this strange loyalty. She wanted to laugh, to cry, to scream at the absurdity of it all. Instead, she nodded, her voice steady. "Coffee's on me." Then, days passed, and the story spread like wildfire. The bikers didn't linger, but their message did. Clara's Corner became a quiet legend, a place where a single act of courage rewrote the rules. Customers came, some curious, some wary, but all saw Clara differently. She wasn't just the black woman behind the counter anymore. She was the one who'd faced down fear and won. Jack visited now and then, always with a nod, never with words. Their bond wasn't friendship. It was something deeper, forged in a moment when humanity trumped hate. Clara never sought the spotlight, but it found her. The town's whispers softened, not out of love, but out of respect. She didn't change who she was, still poured coffee, still smiled through the slurs, but she carried herself taller. The biker's loyalty wasn't just protection. It was a mirror, reflecting her strength back to her. In a world quick to divide, Clara had built a bridge, not with grand speeches, but with a single, reckless act of kindness. What does it mean to be loyal? For Clara, it meant seeing a man when others saw a monster. For the Hells Angels, it meant standing for a woman who'd stood for one of their own. In that dusty diner, where prejudice once cast long shadows, a black woman and a band of outcasts proved that courage could rewrite even the ugliest stories. Clara's Corner still stands, its wooden sign now etched with a new truth. Humanity, when tested, can shine brighter than hate. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.